You were a CIA agent for how long?
I was an officer for 20 years.
Okay. Have you ever seen anything like what happened in Libya?
I have seen, and I have been in places that were under attack, under fire, and I saw assets scrambling to help us. I was in Salvador during the end of the 1980s, the last part of the civil war there. We were under mortar fire, we were under combat situations, and people scrambled to help us. I have never seen a situation where a facility is under attack like that and
nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So let me come back here to this in a second, but let me go here. First of all, there were live cameras down in the compound that we could access, and there was a drone up above taking live pictures. Typically, something like this, is that something that's on in the Situation Room?
I would expect it would be.
Okay. But everything could be patched easily to the Situation Room?
Oh, yes.
If it wasn't being watched in the Situation Room, who was watching it? Pentagon, State Department?
All of the above.
Okay.
All of the above.
And if our embassies were under attack, the phones would light up and everybody would turn to, you know, whatever the...
Everybody would scramble to see what assets were within reach to help them.
Okay. So they saw, somebody in this administration saw what was going on, and somebody said, stop, don't help them. No, you can't go in, right?
That's what it looks like.
Did people in this administration watch our people die live and do nothing?
In effect, that's what it looks like happened.
Okay. Why, can you come up with any reasons on why they wouldn't send assets in?
It's so hard to understand why they would not. Protecting whatever was going on, whatever the mission was that Ambassador Stevens was there for.
Would gun running be enough?
It's so hard for me to even understand.
Because you've never seen, we've never walked, I mean, we don't do that. We don't leave people behind.
No.
Unprecedented.
No, yes.
Why is the media not asking these questions? Why is no one has asked the question, why was the ambassador there? It was unusual for him to be there. Very worst place he could be on September 11th. He was begging not to be there. He was there, nobody around. He wasn't protected. September 11th, he meets with the Turkish
the Consul General.
Yeah. Nobody's asked why. Why is the media not asking who was watching the live drone?
If we can think of it, so can anyone else. If we can think of these questions, then others can too. And that would be the question. Why, when Ambassador Stevens knew that he was under this kind of threat, he himself apparently suspected that he was on a hit list for Al-Qaeda. He knew that he was going in there without adequate security. He had begged for more security. Others had asked for more security at Benghazi. It was refused.
I have this theory. Anyway. 4 days into this, I said he was running guns for the Al-Qaeda people, and that's what happened. And they let him die when it went wrong because they didn't want it to come out that they were doing these things, that they were so deeply in bed with Al-Qaeda style affiliates that they kind of hoped that everybody would just not pay attention because of this video. Does that make sense to you?
It could be. I mean, I'm sure nobody wanted him or anyone else to die there, and they might not have actually known the circumstances inside the buildings that they were actually dying. But all the same, was it protection of that operation? It was going to come out one way or another eventually anyway.
Who knows about this? How far does it go? Clapper know about this?
Has to.
Hillary Clinton know about this?
Must.
Barack Obama?
Has to.
Okay. Petraeus?
Must. He absolutely must.
Some of the names I just gave you I can understand. Petraeus I can't. Petraeus would know that this happened? And
well, recall, I mean, what was Benghazi? It wasn't a consulate. It was a diplomatic mission where, from news reports that we can see, CIA were on the ground with others, contractors and others, trying to collect up some of these loose weapons that had gone missing out of Gaddafi's stockpiles, in particular the very dangerous shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles, RPGs. That's what they were doing there. That's what they were there for.
Is this as bad as this gets, you think? Does your gut tell you?
I hope it gets no worse.
What happens if we let the president off and nobody pursues this?
Then we have failed in our duty as citizens, as journalists. This has to be brought out. This has to be made known to the public that this is what's going on, and that our administration not only was working with the bad guys, was working with al-Qaeda-linked militias and jihadis to overthrow Assad in Syria, but that they let our mission go down, they let our ambassador and others die in real time, watching it happen, and they didn't do anything about it.
Not some far-off distant land. Situation room. The Situation Room. And by the way, just one other piece of information I think you know. When this was going down, the president went to bed. Back in a minute.